In the last video, we looked at a tool called GoalSeek, which allowed us to get different results from our calculations by automatically changing our input. But one limitation you may have observed with GoalSeek was you had to choose between either keeping the GoalSeek solution or your original solution. It did not offer you the option to keep both. What we are going to look at in this video is a really useful tool called the Scenario Manager. Scenario Manager allows you to keep different data inputs in a single worksheet. Alex's next challenge is they've asked him to provide some different scenarios for sale price versus quantity sold. The price they are thinking of selling at is $35, and they estimate they will make about 2,140 sales per manual at that price point. If they were to drop the price by $5, research suggests that the quantity sold will go up by 15%. On the other hand, if they were to increase the price point by $5, they think it will drop by 15%. What we want to look at is what expected projected profit can we get if we were to adjust these two variables. Before we get into the Scenario Manager, it's a good idea to name our ranges. You don't have to, but you'll see why very shortly. It makes life much easier. Now, we want to name these two cells: sales price and quantity sold per manual. I'm going to start by selecting both the labels and the values, and then I'm going to come up to my Formulas tab, and I'm going to use Create from Selection. You may remember we learned about this in the previous course. And when I click Create from Selection, it identifies that my left column contains labels, and I'm just going to click OK. So what I've done here is I've named this cell Sales Price and this cell Quantity Sold. Now, selecting those two cells again, not the labels this time, I'm going to come up to my Data tab, and again I'm going to come up to my What If analysis. But this time I'm going to choose Scenario Manager. The Scenario Manager dialog box opens up. At the moment we have no scenarios because we haven't added any. So the first thing we're going to do is click Add. And we're going to call our first scenario Current Price. But you can call them anything you like, and you can even put spaces in. It's just a label. You'll notice because we selected E15 and E16, they're already selected, but if you had not done that previously, you could go and specify the cells that are going to change over here. We're just going to click OK, and it's showing us the current values in those cells. And we want to save exactly this scenario. So, if we were finished, we'd click OK, but we're going to add another scenario. So we're going to click Add. Our second scenario is going to be Price Decrease. This is where we are going to model what happens if we drop our price to $30, and I'm going to click OK. We are actually going to change these values, so I'm going to decrease my price to $30, and I want to add 15% onto this. You can just put a little calculation in here. So start with your equals and then say times 1 plus 15%. What that's going to do is give us a 15% increase in our quantity sold, and now I'm going to click OK. This is warning you that it's not going to keep this calculation. It's going to replace it with the result, which is fine. We're going to say OK. We now have our first two scenarios. Let's go and add one more. I'm going to click Add, and this one is going to be Price Increase, and OK. This time I'm going to make the price $40, and I'm going to take this value and I'm going to decrease it by 15%. Don't forget to put your equals at the beginning and then multiply by 1 minus 15% and then say OK. And again, it's just letting you know it's going to replace that calculation with an actual value, which is fine, and then say OK. Alright, so we've created our 3 scenarios, but if you look in our workbook, nothing has changed at this stage. To see the other scenarios, I'm going to start by clicking on price decrease, and then at the bottom of the dialog, I'm going to click the show button. Watch what happens in my workbook when I do. It has adjusted the 2 inputs as per our specifications. So our price has gone down to $30, our sales have gone up, but our projected profit overall has actually gone down. Okay, so let's see what happens with the price increase. Click on price increase, click show, and again, it has adjusted our variables as per the instructions. But once again, our profit has gone down. It's gone even further down. So it's actually looking like $35 was our optimal price point. What would be really nice if we could actually see all 3 of these together. So I'm just going to come back to current price and click show to get back to my original. And then I'm going to come down to this button here, summary. This E20, it has used the trace dependence to get down to the final calculation, which in this case is our projected profit. And yes, that is the value that we actually want to see the result cell. So we're going to click OK, and it produces this really useful little scenario summary. The first column here is the current values in the workbook, but then it also gives you each individual scenario and you can actually compare them side by side. If you have a look at the labels here, the reason we are getting sale price and quantity sold per manual is because we named our ranges. You'll see we didn't name our profit, so we're getting this E20, which isn't very meaningful, and that is one of the reasons I would encourage you to name your ranges prior to producing scenarios. This has all been created in a brand new sheet called Scenario Summary. To get back to your project costing model, click on the Project Costing Model tab. So, that was our Scenario Manager. Very useful for allowing you to store completely different values in the same sheet and easily switching between those different inputs. For the last thing we'll have a look at, we'll come back to our what if analysis. Click on our Scenario Manager and we're actually going to remove each of those scenarios. To get rid of them, we click delete, 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 and then we click close. If you want to get rid of your scenarios, it's that easy. And we're going to do that now so that in the next video we can have a look at some completely different scenarios. But you'll notice we have not lost our scenario summary. Once you've finished with your scenarios, you can get rid of them, but you still retain your original summary. In the next video, we're going to take the Scenario Manager and a tool that's similar to GoalSeek but even more powerful, and put the 2 together to get what is pretty much the ultimate modeling tool. So keep watching.